I hope you're doing well. So my name is Stephen Crowley once again, and now I'm going to be talking about chapter 3 of Christopher Howard's Thinking Like a Political Scientist. So in this chapter, Howard kind of really dives into causation, and which is kind of a big part of political science, because so much of what we're trying to do is to see how different independent variables directly impact dependent variables and kind of how that can be applied in a political context. So with that in mind, let's dive into the 3 review exercises. So the first one I wanted to talk about was what is an association that is only an association or a correlation and is not necessarily causation. So it took me a while to think of something that would be good for this, but I think, so one thing I thought about was in December, it is likely that the amount of popcorn eaten by Americans goes up. So why is this the case? Is it that the month of December inherently causes people to eat more popcorn? I don't know. But instead, there's little kind of factors within the month that make that more likely. So, for instance, you have Christmas. So a lot of people use popcorn to decorate their Christmas trees. So that's a big way in which popcorn consumption could go up. Also, the Christmas time is a big time for when kind of big movies are getting released. So that's movie theaters are going to be getting a lot more popcorn bulk by consumers. So that's a way you can see that December didn't directly cause more popcorn to be consumed, but rather there was an association between the two because of some confounding variables. The next thing I want to kind of talk about is the idea of a causal mechanism. So one of the things that Howard talks about is important when you want to determine causation is you have to determine how could this causal effect happen. So this is kind of called the causal mechanism. And so what I had y'all do was think about what would be a possible causal mechanism for the idea that social media causes lower mental health in people. And so to give you an idea of what I'm thinking of, so I think a possible causal mechanism is that our social media gives us too many different ways of seeking validation from others in the form of all that stimulation, likes, comments, tags. And because we're constantly looking for that, that can really leave us unfulfilled with kind of the rest of our kind of daily life and interactions. And so that's an example of a causal interaction explaining how a causal hypothesis would be and like the literal how of this causal mechanism. And then lastly, the idea of endogeneity. This is the idea where you look at the direction between how things in a causal chain interact with each other and in what direction it goes. So I challenge you all to think of a way in which this could go both ways. So like one variable could impact the other and vice versa. So one of those that I thought of was, so I'm a pole vaulter at Queens. Not the best pole vaulter, but I try. And I've noticed one thing is when I have a lot of confidence, that inherently makes me pole vault better. I get better heights, I have better technique. And then in consequence, that causes my confidence to go up. So it kind of goes back and forth, and you can see how that causal mechanism works both ways. So that was kind of my sample answers for those 3 review exercises. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you for chapter 4. Thank you.